Let's see if that works. Okay, that works for some reason. Let us connect this. Have I placed any trades for this account? Apparently. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Alright. Just the 1% there. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Oh, I gotta. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So let's be right back. Big boy. Ah, shit. Alright. Alright, hold on. I'll be back in a sec. I forgot to close Parsec on the other computer. Oh, and I didn't do it. God, I'm so lost right now. Hi, Conviction. Thanks for the support and thanks for being here. So, I'm going for this, which is somewhat of a risk entry, but it is a continuation as we are expecting a Versmith to continue. We had a pretty strong push down. Is that on the 16th? Had a pretty strong push down. We mitigated supply there. We caused a major breakdown here. The cause of that was this. Also, everything to the left is really mitigated unless this is something price is interested on going for, which has a tiny bit of liquidity. But honestly, that pause is very convincing, honestly. So I went downstairs because I needed to close Parsec on my netbook, and I saw that the patio room was open, so I closed it, and I thought that's what I went downstairs for. I forgot to close Parsec, so I'm gonna have to go downstairs again, and I'll be back in a sec. Alright, now we're ready. Why do I have so many alerts? Let's actually delete the old ones. I have so many of them. Remove all. Yeah. How's crypto going? Oh, it's falling, right? So, pretty much. Oh, it broke high. Pretty much Eurodollar. Expecting the continuation of the Versmith. Did we create a 4-hour block right there? Let me close this, save that, open this. Yeah, we kind of did, just a tiny bit higher. So let's actually draw that just in case. There, and where are we? Not really an important area per se, so I wouldn't really be that scared. But this is the 4-hour order block, right? So potentially could get up there, take some liquidity, maybe mitigate something like this. So the 4-hour order block probably is this whole price action, somewhere closed somewhere around here. I guess. So not many opportunities today, and I mean, opportunities today, partially it's because of the news. On the other side, we did get some really rangy price action early in the morning, which in my opinion is again due to the news. And but yeah, we'll see if this one works out the way we want it to. And otherwise, we'll need a lot of time to really see what could happen. Maybe price could easily just get up here, right? And then continue to go lower, right? Definitely could be the case. We'll see what happens though, because if that does happen, if we get a CE, then I'm definitely going for that, right? Which in that case will be a DCE, right? So I like the imbalance on this. Everything here is mitigated. That week was a tiny bit mitigated. Well, not the week, but the candle was a little bit mitigated. Not as much as I would have wanted it to, right? But probably enough. Let me lower the music. There you go. Let me know if the music's too high or something, so I can change that. So yeah, I mean, target's pretty aggressive, going really low. How many pips? 65 pips to be exact, which is not something really ideal, and probably will be closed way earlier than that. For me to get 3-4% will be really good today. So really a 3-4% will be good enough. So if this trade was to work out at that point, could probably be closed, although it could definitely get all the way down to this, which in that case it will be somewhere around 10.5% profit, as I'm risking 0.5 on this one, and it's 21R. So yeah, otherwise if this fails, it's likely to be a little bit of time without trading and looking for something else. Now let's think of that. Actually, let me change to, I'm gonna create a new type of chart. I didn't want to do that. Yes, okay. Let me create a new chart layout. Can I? Yeah, apparently. Oh, but this, that sucks. That really sucks. Okay, hold on. Let's delete this one. Named, yes. And, okay, I was there. And we'll create a copy of markups as an example. I can create a copy. Oh yeah, okay, never mind. So make a copy. So cleaner version. Let's call it like that. I should have set some alerts actually. That's fine. Okay, so here we'll delete everything. I said it's markups. I actually did markups just once. Sorry about that. What did I want to see? Oh, okay, yeah. So let's suppose that this, can I change tabs now? Let's suppose that we have the supply, right? We'll have to suppose that we do have that. Let's suppose that supply now causes a reaction, but fails to hold. Unless we actually broke this high, and it could easily react to this, so maybe even we'll have to wait for that to occur. So if this high is broken, but still respect this, we can't buy. So this is a CE at this point, right? Because we had the risk entry. Now we have confirmation entry that actually broke the supply. Cost a flip, actually. But we could still not buy. Let's suppose we react to this. We can still not buy. We can't buy still. Now let's suppose this happens. That's when we buy. Right? It will be a little bit of a risky entry due to the fact that, well, it's a risk entry actually. And this, being such an extreme area, what could easily happen is price actually goes a tiny bit lower to something like this, or maybe takes the liquidity below this order flow and goes for something like that. Right, so that will be the bullish scenario, potential bullish scenario, of course. The other option is this actually works out. Right, we tap the supply, starts to fall, we create even more opportunities, and actually price falls. Right, starts to fall. Hopefully that will be the scenario, but well, we do have to be ready for anything else. So let's suppose this occurs. Right, we actually to have that supply, we start to work out any type of confirmation. Like the actual break of this substructure could be for me enough to actually go for this as a confirmation entry, as I do think that there's a high probability of price getting up there, but I do think that there's even a higher probability of price working out from this point, right? So yeah, also the way that price is going back up, so slowly is kind of appealing towards the fact that it could be impulse, retracement, impulse, but I don't want to jinx it. And in some cases I've actually seen that type of structure be very negative for a sell, right? So this order flow that was basically created here could act against us, as it could be a sign that, well, we create liquidity here, then here, then here. So a lot of liquidity taken that could then lead this to actually be a good trade. But I guess we'll see. Let's actually change to our charts, which are not this, not this, not this, not this one, this one. All right. So as this is a risky trade, it's not a trade that I took on the funded, right? But would have been definitely a loss. So that happened quick. All right, let's put the red thing in here. So let's see what happens next. The problem as well right now is that we actually haven't caused the reaction of this supply here, right? So we can't even count this as a potential trade, right? So yeah, that kind of sucks, not gonna lie. This was broken as well, nothing to do there then. And pretty bullish, pretty damn bullish. We kind of checked, but we didn't really have anything on the left. We did have somewhat of a retracement on probably the 1 minute or something like that, but look at how far it is. So I wouldn't really even keep it in mind, you know? It's just something that doesn't make sense at all for me to go for, right? So so yeah. So let's see what we got. Still respecting this, kind of sucks. Did it create liquidity or did it take it? Took it. Alright. Or at this point, just don't really see myself selling right now. This is just too risky at this point, and of how structure really is. We've broken some through some major structure, but we haven't caused a flip. That's the problem with the buy at the same time. We did break supply and all, but we haven't caused a flip unless we actually broke the supply, which is now in constant reaction. That will be the only way for us to count that as flip. Okay, so we basically have the bullish scenario. So gotta delete this. So we mitigated this, broke the high, mitigated the extreme, broke the high, broke supply. This could be the next POI. Wouldn't go for it because it's just awful, honestly, and we would have to cost a flip at the very least, honestly. Let me try this as well. I think even this will make more sense than this. But still can't buy, can't sell right now. It's gonna take some time for us to actually be able to do anything. I do kind of like this risk entry up here, but for me to be able to trade this, we will need a lot of liquidity being created just below it, or we'll just go for the CE, right, which will be the better option, of course. This definitely makes sense. It's too risky for us to go for it, as we haven't flipped and demand supply is still in control. If we were to break this, then at the same time we can't really buy because we are getting too close to this and it could easily react to that. For me to be able to sell here, we would need a lot of structures to be created for us to get a CE there, so find it highly unlikely. And this comes from mitigating that, which is great. Well, if you think about it, this could be considered a CE. Really risky CE, so you could take it as a half risk. But definitely a potential CE. So we mitigated that extreme, which, well, it's just a retracement, right? Didn't really cause much per se, so it's not a very strong area, but definitely causes this to happen, right? Of course, we had the news and everything that kind of helped, but I always say that the only thing that news actually do is make whatever was going to happen just happen faster. So I think the direction on that one was quite accurate, but it was just sped up due to the news. What is this? Oh, the 4-hour order block. So this is a good reaction. I like when price takes some time to react to the areas. It's quite well, but we can't really sell because there's no CE there. So I'm still considering this with half risk. And probably the stop loss should even go above this high, honestly. Going for something like that. Depending on what we would target, but having such an extreme entry probably could target something like that. Based on 15-second time frame, I could definitely sell there. But I've taken so many losses with 15-second time frame that I'm not really interested in doing that again. So if we broke this, that's a flip. Could wait for that high to be broken, right? But just tiny bit, tiny bit too high. So how much am I this week? Had a 1% on Monday, 3.2 on Tuesday, -1 Wednesday, 0 yesterday. So what? 4.2 -1, 3.2, 0 -5. So 2.4, 2.7. 2.7% up for the week. So still good, but could have been way better. Yesterday there were so many good opportunities that I was just not able to take advantage of due to the fact that I woke up late, was feeling kind of lost, and decided not to trade. And there were some really clean opportunities, sadly. Well, we're approaching this, and I'm really thinking about this. So problem is that I don't have a 0.25% risk calculator here. How much is it? 2.8. So it's 0.89. So I'm really thinking about it, but just a little bit risky. Well, not a little. We did break that major high now, right? And we caused a flip. So that we must consider. So the entry will be 385 for 13. Target might be a little bit aggressive. Not sure if I want to go for those. I'm going to place it on the demo. I always like placing trades on the demo, right? But not sure if I want to go for this on the funded, honestly. This is a 4-hour order block, if I remember correctly. It makes sense. There's not really anything in the middle, so it does make sense. Honestly, this actually looks really good right now. So the problem will be, let's say we were taking this, right? We're taking it on the demo, but still not on the funded. Let's say we took this and we reacted to this first, and that's great. This is definitely an entry I want to be in. But if price actually reaches this area first and then starts to go up, then I'm wouldn't be really confident about this one. Well, due to the fact that, well, we are reacting to a demand area that at the end it did cause the beginning of the move to the flip and a major break to the upside. So that will be a little bit risky going against that POI. So I'm thinking on waiting on a CE on that extreme. We're within the 1 hour order block that actually caused this flip. That's actually a tiny bit better of a confluence, honestly. Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm going for it in the funded as well. So 15,385. Okay. Stop loss 413. And target was 146.07. Yeah. Alright. There we go for that. Half risk. Although I probably could go for the entire risk, but it's just, I don't know, I just find it a tiny bit risky. If we were going for full risk, well, we actually didn't take this one on the fund, so it will be fine. I could still trade another one. But yeah. What's the difference between 0.25 and this one? Oh, we can't really know. So we don't have news for the rest of the day, so it's not something I gotta worry about, which is good. Where's 14,960? This 15R. That's approximately how much we need for the target I currently have. So nothing to be done so far. The entry is the only thing that would make sense for now. We will still have to see if it works out or not. Risking 0.25 on it. I'm actually going to risk 1 on this one since we're on it. Because why not? And honestly, for now, that's pretty much all that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just mute myself and come back whenever I have anything to really talk about. If a CE is generated from there, I'm definitely going for it. Maybe as a scaling will be a little bit risky, maybe half risk or maybe even smaller risk than that. I've never really taken scalings. I don't really like them, but yeah, we'll definitely see how things work out. But for now, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna mute myself now. I got a small issue with this because we had a demand area here that actually caused a flip. We have flipped to the downside, and we're already mitigating that one order block. We have mitigated the low of this, right, of this whole range, which is probably what is on the 5 minute. Well, not really, not in the 5 minute. Oh wait, so we're going. That's the 5 minute. Oh yeah. Okay. So the problem is that at CE, which in this case could be this, considering that we've tapped that somewhat of a range that we have here, could definitely work out from this point. So we could definitely be going for that. Just not something that I'm really interested in right now, but I will like to wait and see what happens. But let's suppose that we mitigate this, right? I will have to go for this, right? Maybe I would take a loss. Potentially could take a loss. But yeah, now we're approaching this, which sucks, because can I oh fuck that, yes. Thank you. Because I hate it. Actually, I need it, but not that strong. Oh. This one. Fuck that. It's just annoying. So we'll see. As I said, I wouldn't really like the center as much if we tap this first, which would definitely suck a lot. But we'll see what occurs. We're tapping the whole range as a whole. The range as a whole, right? Just not entirely good. But I guess we'll see. For now, not much to say, but I did want to mention that we did have this issue now that this could definitely work out. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, we reacted to this, and we broke supply. So, kinda, some kind of CE has been generated on this, which of course I wouldn't go for in this case, because in my opinion, this probably already reacted to something, right? Within this. So, not really interested in taking a buy right there. If we were to break that high, maybe, but still just a tiny bit risky to go for a buy right now. And just waiting for that sell, for that extreme sell. We'll see what happens, because as an example, if we were to break this, we have a flip and we already have broken demand. So we could go for the cost to this as a SDB pattern. The SDB pattern is basically supply demand break. So whenever we react to demand but we fail to hold, we go for the cost to that. Let me close the door because the dog came in. So yeah, basically that, it's like we could go for that, which will be a tiny bit riskier than just going for CEs, but it's something that I've been backtesting for. Well, I actually backtested yesterday. Backtested, I think it was 2 weeks or 1 week, and it shows to happen very, very rarely, right? It doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it actually works out most of the times. Of course, it's never 100% thing. So this is what we currently have. Let's actually move it here just in case. So we've broken through this, so I can sell from here now. The problem is, do I want to or not? Mediated week there. We go for the 15. It's really an area in the middle, right? Because we are within the extreme POI, the extreme supply, and that extreme demand that we have up here. Down there, here, that it could that comes from mitigating this. That supposedly to the left we might have something. I checked on the 1 hour and I went so far to the left that I wasn't even able to find anything. So having POIs so far to the left is not something that I really use, nor that I want to use, right? Because I find it very insignificant. But yeah. Took liquidity at the same time because we did have somewhat of equal lows there. I'll check the 15 seconds. Had somewhat of liquidity and tapped that extreme order block there. I only use 15 seconds time frame for that, just to see if there's anything that price could be reacting to, but not to trade accordingly, It's really a gamble right now to go for that trade. I don't find it highly likely for it to work out, but I don't think it's a bad trade at the same time. So that's tiny bit, For now, we're not gonna do anything. We're not gonna trade this. If price was to get here and give us somewhat of a CE, I could definitely try and buy all the way up to this. Could definitely work out. But as we did break this major structure, so what I expect, since we did break that, is this, right? Continuation. So I could even risk it on this one, but I just don't really feel like taking a risk interest at this point. It's even respected this still, so not quite loving that. Because this, I mean, this demand here, of course, is what we would like to use, but this is still the whole range of demand, right? Is that a 5-minute thing? Nah. Looks really bad on the 5-minute, actually. Okay, it's failing basically for now. So, did we create, if that low would have happened a tiny bit lower, it would have been liquidity for me to go for. Because at the end of the day, this is a ACE, so just because of that we could go for it. The only problem that I see is that this is the major trend, right? And this reaction, even though it didn't happen where we wanted it to, it did occur within this range that we have here, so it basically has caused a reaction like this, right? So at this point we have that, but at the same time we have this. Price broke this major high, now it's going back lower to potentially something really extreme, and then a continuation to the upside, right? So at this point both of them are kind of possible, right? So when you have both sides as potential, so when both sides are basically potentially having trades, basically when you have trades from both sides, it's not really good, because you could be wrong and basically take a loss, and then you'll get the buy, but you'll get the take profit on the other side. I basically missed out on because you chose one of the sides, right? So for now, I'm gonna. Didn't I change the sound? Fuck. Oh, right. So for now, I'm just gonna wait. Just gonna wait. If I get somewhat of a CE there, definitely go for it. But if, let's suppose the problem at the same time is that we do get this, then I have to delete this entry, because this easily could work out, right? Break the high, react to an extreme, and then a continuation, right? So I think I might should have gone for this, but we'll see. We'll see. Also, another problem that could happen with this is that price could just ignore this area and go a tiny bit lower to then continue to go higher, something within this, which would have sucked, because that would have been a stop loss for me. No way for me to actually trade that. But yeah, got change the notification on my phone. How much do we have here? It's 1.5, could be 2.5. Nothing for us to do right now. Just waiting to see what happens in this demand, honestly. Because if it fails, then we would have to see if the low is broken or not. But if it holds, then we are literally, we will be basically not be able to do much until that low is broken, right? Because if this works out, as I said just a second ago, I have to delete this entry, because I would be going against this potentially new order flow that has been created, right? So it's just definitely not something I can go for. And I can't trade this because I don't take market execution, so. Where is the high? 185.5. 82 basically. What would have we gone for? It's 16, so it would have been 20. And well, we would have targeted this, the new high. Maybe something a tiny bit safer like that. Both risky, but that's how the trade would have been. And it seems like it was actually a good trade. Interesting. So if we get the flip, right? If we do get the flip, which we kinda, by just breaking that, I think we would get it. Because as you can see, we do have that supply, and we do get a reaction to that supply here when it comes back up but then fails to hold. So that's already a failed reaction, and if we break the high, could be considered a flip. Risky flip in this case, as a reaction could be better like it's currently happening, right? We get the reaction but then we fail to hold, right? They go for that. But nah. To be fair, nothing to really do. I'm gonna set an alert to when we flip this, which will be up here. And down here will be a tiny bit lower, so around there. Demand failed. Failed was with just one L, right? I highly think so. We'll see. So I got the alert there. I got the alert here. Yes. And that's pretty much all that we can really do for now. If that fails, then not really sure what we could do, because I wouldn't really want to sell so low into the move. So I would expect somewhat of a retracement at some point to then try and sell, as an example, from this point. But yeah, just gotta wait and see. So let's actually recapitulate. Have we missed out on any kind of entries? Before the news, there was nothing. I'm really sure of that. We took this loss on the demo. We're going for this on the challenge. But if this trade works out, then I'm likely to delete this one, because it wouldn't make that much sense to go against this order flow that is basically being created. And hell, well, I shouldn't really go for a sell at any point in this move due to the order flow, right? So I actually think I haven't really missed out on any CEs. So there hasn't been really that many opportunity. And way before the news, what happened? Oh, I thought, well, I mentioned that we might have somewhat of a CE at this point, this one or this one, but never came to work out, so not something I'm worried about. So really not that many opportunities, going for just confirmation interest today. This is probably one of the very few that happened, if any other happened. Well, we could count this, right, because it does react to the demand. It breaks a high and then it comes back lower and it works, and it doesn't work, sorry. But we could count that as a CE, but it's an area in the middle, so I wouldn't be really trying to buy from that point, which is because I identified it, so I have the error there. But it's just not something that I would have traded anyways. So this one is actually working quite well for now. Target, so we could target this, being conservative. I don't really expect anything from this, or we could go for that, right, which is a tiny bit riskier, and it will be kind of following this order flow that we have here. Right, so we break the high, get lower, and we break the next high, right, following the order flow. But it's just a tiny bit too risky, honestly. So I think if I was on this, I would go for just this, right? 15,317. But yeah. The problem is that the bullish move is really not reacting to anything, you know? If it was reacting to something, then a larger target would definitely be optional, right? But as it is not really reacting to anything, there's not really much to do, honestly. If you think about it, right? It hasn't flipped yet, just fine, but we did break this temporarily high that we got here, so it could easily come back to react to this and then continue to go higher. But it's not looking very convincing for the buys at this point. Well, for now that's all. I just gotta wait to see what happens with this trade, and but yeah, at this point, if this was to work out, then this entry is definitely gone. Actually, it's probably already gone. I wouldn't really go for that sell at any point unless we actually break and we go all the way up here, which wouldn't really make that much sense. So for now, just gotta wait to see what happens with this, right? If a C was to occur, we could go for it, but I'm not really liking the whole structure of this bullish move, honestly. We have had somewhat of a risk entry already, right? So this could be considered the CE, or well, risk entry, confirmation entry, double confirmation entry at this point. That's just, I don't know, just not too clean structure. Price is very compressed in just a few pips. So right now, nothing to really do, right? Nothing to really do. So that's all for now. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna go downstairs. I have a couple of alerts, so if anything good happens, I'll be back. All right. So got the alert. Finally broke that. Lots of ranging. So you can see this is the flip finally. So as I said, I'm not really interested in this supply. I don't think it would cost much. Maybe what it could cost is something like this to then continue to go higher. So at this point, if I was trading this, my stop loss will be basically on break even, right? So just on the line. I wouldn't really expect price to go below that, to go even below this area. It could definitely do so, taking some liquidity maybe, and then continue to go higher. But I wouldn't take that risk, right? So this is not a trade that I'm currently running, but yeah, definitely. Well, not on the challenge, just in the demo account. So I took a market execution on it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know why it does that sometimes, and I think it's because I'm streaming. But yeah, so hey Max, I'm not sure if you're still here, but was just monitoring this. I actually wanted to go for this extreme to sell, but I never got the chance. So I wanted to be in that sell before this occurred, right? So in my opinion, this is now a risky trade due to the fact that this move here took this major high. So this is definitely something possible. So so yeah, not really confident taking this trade now, as this trade is working out quite well. And well, if this worked out to the downside, well, that will be, I don't know. I mean, I will wait for CE, but as you can see, it's 11:30 almost. So honestly, at this point I usually just go downstairs, I exercise, I do other stuff. Not really interested into continuing the trade, right? So let me see. Yeah. At the same time, not really sure if this will work or if it'll cause somewhat of a reaction. I think this is a pretty safe target, but not something that I'm really willing to risk, right? So so yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I think I'm gonna. It's really weird what it does, because I don't know. Wait, see, that's not something that I'm doing for some reason. All right. So we'll see how this works out. If I see anything like really good. Oh, hi. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now that we have the flip, though, as an example, if we were to break this, we can definitely go for this, right? Which is something that I've been seeing lately. Do we have the? No, no, not open it like that. Which is the what I call STB pattern, which is either will supply and demand break, supply or demand break, and just going for the cost of that, right? So I was actually back testing it the other day, and I actually recorded it. Trying to. Oh, I went for markups. Hold on, that's not it. And I actually recorded it, but nothing really good came out of it to actually make it a video, honestly. But this is basically the pattern, if I can find it. That's pretty far away, if I remember correctly. But the thing is, basically, after you've had a flip, what we will look for is the, well, price just causing somewhat of a reaction in a supply or demand area. Here it is. And if it failed to hold, then basically we could go for the cause to that fail, right? So here's the pattern that I actually drew yesterday. And so price taps an area of demand in this case, reacts to an area of supply. Let me actually open the chart here to keep in mind, to know where we basically are. Yeah, that's fine. So taps an area of demand, causes a reaction on supply, fails to hold. The CE will be this, and at this point, after the flip, the trend is confirmed, right? So as an example, if we then reacted to supply but failed to hold, then this supply break entry as a risk entry will be a trade that we could go for, right? And on the other side, it's exactly the same thing. This will be the confirmation entry. And then we will get the STB when we basically have price reacting to demand, failing to hold, and going for the cost. Which on, was it yesterday or Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday. There was a really clean trade of these that happened. But it's not something, it's just something that I've started back testing, right? Very recently. So I haven't really collected that much data for me to actually include it on my trading plan or anything like that. So for now, I'm just trading confirmation entries. Yeah, so that was my problem here, right? Because I was going for this, and price tapped something on this move, right? Let me actually open it like this. So when he tapped this, I was kind of already a little bit not very convinced about the sell. So and also if we check the 1 hour, that's already mitigated. It already mitigated the what did I go for? Is that the 1 hour? And what did I say? Was it 15 minute? Oh, it was 15 minutes. I thought it was the 1 hour. But yeah, this cost to this was it a flip? Yeah, it was actually a flip on the 15 minute, which this was the cause, right? So so yeah, the fact that it mitigated that was not really very convincing for me to try and buy, nor to try and sell from this extreme, right? Because if price would have gotten all the way up here after this move and after the flip, that would have been basically causing the break of this high, which could be determined as a strong high at that point. Also, I was thinking about going for this when we caused the flip, thinking that we mitigate a 15-minute supply. That's the risk entry, and this is the CE, right? But just not very convinced because I was expecting price to maybe do something like this, right? And then continue to go lower, or will react to this and continue to go higher, or this one to go higher, right? So yeah, pretty much I got this trade on a demo I have, but just didn't feel confident enough going for it on the funded, and it was the market execution, so there would have been no way for me to actually trade this. I don't trade market executions. So yeah, for me to consider this trade as working, it should maybe cause a reaction to this and then continue to go higher. But if it goes lower than that, then it's day done for me. CE helps filter out losses. Yes, definitely. So when I started watching this, I don't know why it lags sometimes. When I was last week, was it last week? I think it was last week. Had a pretty rough week. Not many trades, and the few little trades that I caught were most of them losses or break-evens. And I started going for CEs. And it has really been huge change because I like right now I try to think how I used to trade, and I really can't get it. Why did I go for so many risk entries and stuff like that? And no, I don't, Max. I kind of had it in my trading plan that maybe some risk entries that looked very good, like they took liquidity, they have liquidity, and they are in continuation with the order flow. Maybe that's something I could have traded, but it would have to be like really good for me to go for it, and even then I kind of decided not to go for it. So, because as an example, I could consider this right here a risk entry, even though the risk entry actually happened here, and this is already the CE, right? And the reason to that is because we have pulled away a lot from that. So if let's suppose it's like comparing this, right? So we have something like this. We have risk entry right here, confirmation entry, and it goes up. And then we have wait, what was he talking about? Oh, and then we have the exact same thing, but price pulls away a lot, right? So reacts, risk entry, and price pulls away, and then comes back for the confirmation entry. As price has pulled away so much, then I wouldn't really expect this one to work out just like that. So I would prefer to wait for CE, right? Which is kind of the reason why I didn't go for this. and so far I'm not really regretting it, honestly, because well, prices range just too much. But there has been so many times where price has actually worked out on this type of confirmation entries. It's just that I just don't like it. I don't feel that comfortable going for them. And but yeah, I mean today there really wasn't that many opportunities. This is, I think, the first CE that actually looks kind of clean. Right, the reaction is not clean for sure, but the order block and everything looks well. Um, and So if we look at price action before the news, before NFP, there was literally nothing. Price just ranged. What I was thinking about was maybe this mitigate 5-minute order block that we had here that had mitigated this previous range, right? That came from mitigating something else, etc. Right? So that was something that I was thinking maybe this is a good CE, but I didn't like it to go for the risk entry, and I didn't. Well, for the confirmation entry, and I didn't. Was thinking of this, but we had this demand, right? So I could not trade this without going against the POI. So it's not something that I do going against POIs. So it would have been no trade for me. Then we got NFP, right? We got this huge thing. To be fair, this mitigates this extreme, right? So that was partially the reason I was actually going for this, right? It's like a risk entry, confirmation entry type of scenario. So could have worked out. I mean, we might be able to see that if this trade works out and gets all the way up to that. But yeah, we go down. So with the news, there was this time that I took the trade here because the structure is really similar. Exactly here. So it was a risk entry, right? And I used to trade risk entries, and that didn't work out at all. And but yeah, in this case, I decided to go for CE, which in my opinion was here. Caused literally no reaction. Could have gone for this. Sorry, no. I actually said so. Maybe this could be a better area, as it would take this high self liquidity, and it would have made a tiny bit more of sense, maybe, but still not something really clean. This is the only thing that actually made sense for me to go for, and well, in this case, it just didn't work out, right? I didn't like the risk on it as it wasn't very clean structure. Just the reason why I didn't go for it on the funded. I just went for it here on the paper trading off TradingView, and didn't want to move it that far. Okay, and well, that didn't work out. But what I'm trying to do here is show that there were actually not that many CEs. This is literally a risk entry within substructure. The confirmation entry is this. And the confirmation entry just happened so much time later that would have been really hard to catch, basically, which is a shame, but well, it is what it is, right? And after that, we have this, which maybe works out. For now, it has caused a pretty strong reaction, but just the way that price range here and broke by very little the supply, I'm not really convinced on the buy right now. Nor in the sell. I mean, on the sell we really have nothing. We have more in the buy side than in the sell side. But neither side actually have enough strength or enough clean structure for me to actually go for it. So right now it's just monitoring this trade that I have in the demo. But yeah, it's really sucked. Today really sucked, sadly. Not that many opportunities. So it's a shame I actually decided to live trade today. If I would have live traded yesterday, I think it would have been a really good day. But I got up late. I was not feeling really well for some reason. I wasn't able to sleep well. So I decided, you know what, to skip it. And yeah. So for now, this is working out. I honestly have no extra words to say. So I guess I'm gonna end it here. I'm not gonna take any other trades if anything pops up unless it's like really good at CE on that extreme, but I find it highly unlikely for that to happen. And I trade up to 12, so if we got to 12 and there were no really good opportunities, I'm probably not gonna be trading. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. How much was that? 1 hour 32. For those that actually were here, I was just muted like probably 70% of the stream. They know it. But yeah, it's just trading is like this, and I actually don't stay on the charts uh, that much time. I might spend exactly, well, not exactly, but around an hour out of the 4 hours. How much did I trade? 3 hours and 15 minutes, supposedly. Out of the 3 hours that I actually trade, I probably spend around an hour or maybe even less in front of the charts, right? So I just analyze, I set a couple of alerts, and I just leave the computer. When the alerts ring, right, when they come up, then I come back to check it. And if there's something good, then I will trade it, of course. And I have my cell phone, I have my laptop, so I check every now and then just in case I'm missing out on something. But it's usually just spend most of the time outside of the charts. So thanks for those that were around. Hope you took something away from it, which really not much happened. But yeah, hopefully next week I'll probably be doing another live session and hopefully better price action for that day. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'll be seeing you soon.